the New Orleans Pelicans. What do you think of this squad? What do you think of BI? And what's crazy is this team, the Pelicans, were, soaring, flying. There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach, but either way, they're 5-5 in the last 10. And the Pelicans, what were they, third or fourth at one point of this season? They're now the 10th seed.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. They're horrible without Zion. I'm surprised they're our number
They're
two.
not horrible.
They're horrible without Zion. Don't get it twisted. They're like 500 now, but I don't really know what to say other than they suck without Zion. So yeah, Brandon Ingram had one thing I gathered from Brandon Ingram's 40-point games right now that just came to the Dome is no one gives a shit about 40-point games anymore because it happens 5 times a night. So yeah, Josh Richardson's cool. CJ McCollum's cool. They have a cool team. The play-in will be interesting. It's just a great time in basketball right now because theoretically they could go even on they're a game and a half outside of the 5th spot. Like, what the fuck? They could theoretically go on a 5-game winning streak. Zion could come back next week, early on Monday, and play, and they'll rattle off 8 of 10 wins, and just like that, they're the 5th seed. And it's just like, what the heck is the Western Conference? So,
yeah, no, it's crazy to think about. Also, it's another thing that people have not talked about, who's been missing for the Pelicans at times this season. He hasn't been entirely healthy, and it's Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah, the Jonas from the start to the end's been kind of interesting because
he's played 61.
He's
played 60. Sorry, no, you're good. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. He's played 61 games, but yeah, like he'll have the occasional game that he doesn't play because of an injury, and then some games he'll play low 20s, then some games he'll play 30 minutes, and it's been a weird mix. You know what I mean? With Jonas Valanciunas, like he's played a majority of the season, but I don't know if he's been dealing with an injury all season long, that some days he can play only 20 minutes, some games he can play 30 minutes, or it's depending on the matchup,
Yeah, I'm sure it's heavily matchup based.
Yeah, I also think I personally think he's struggling with some sort of everyone's injured at this point. If you're not injured, you're lying.
Yeah. So it could have been more of a loader management type of thing. I mean, I don't know. It's a really good point because he's 32 minutes against the New York Knicks, and then he was +3 yesterday against Orlando, but only.
Then he'll have 24 and 26 and 25 against the Thunder, Cavs, and Hawks.
Yeah, like he'll have 30. He'll play 30 minutes, and then the next day he'll play 20, 23.
I'm confident when I say this that Jonas Valanciunas is a top 10 center. Closer to 10. He's like the 10th best center in the NBA at least.
I just don't have a rebuttal right now. And you sound right, and I know you're right, but I just don't have any rebuttal.
At least if he's not top 10, he's top 15. He's one of the 15.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
He's one of the 15 better centers in the NBA.
So the Zion issue as well. The NBA Finals will be Golden State, Milwaukee. I think we all know that.
I think Milwaukee's a really good bet to have, personally. Milwaukee's a fantastic bet to have. Let's talk about Zion real quick. I'm pulling up right here. Zion on February 28th is making good progress. He's having an MRI, allegedly, they said, on the 28th, which was 2 days ago. He's having an MRI next week. So I've had a hamstring injury before. Again, I know this is a professional athlete, but I suffered a hamstring. Matt, finals prediction. I don't typically do finals prediction. I like doing conference finals predictions. I got right now Boston Celtics versus Bucks, and then I got Denver Nuggets versus that it gets hard. Denver Nuggets versus, I would love to see the Nuggets versus Kings, but I'm right now, if I had to put money, Nuggets versus Suns.
Okay. How long did it take for you to come up with those predictions?
Not long. I've had that. I've had the Nuggets for a while. I've been on the Nuggets train for a while. Everyone can suck my dick, but Zion, it's a hamstring injury. I've only pulled my hamstring, but dude, when I pulled my hamstring, that was like a month long. Like I was still feeling it. Like it took 2 weeks just to have like normal movement back in my leg, and then another 2 weeks to like not feel it in my leg, if that makes sense.
Zion will be back.
I know, but like obviously there's a ramp up period. So what the big question here is, if you guys also hit that like and subscribe button. We're live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. Be a friend and tell a friend. If you guys didn't like it, just forget it ever happened. But with that being said, yeah, Jalen Johnson said hamstrings are tricky. Like everyone just responds differently. And the thing from what I've learned with hamstrings is like they linger. It just doesn't feel right. Especially because do we know if his was a tear at all?
A torn hamstring? He would be out for the season.
No, tear. Like partial tear.
Oh.
If he partially teared it.
I'd have to reread the diagnosis.
Oh, so you know that Jose Alvarado, I thought this was quiet. Jose Alvarado has suffered a stress fracture in his tibia. Yeah. Tibia is the other one, right? The second largest bone in your body.
I can't even think of where the tibia is.
It's the one next to your fibia. Because the fibia
is your
you're not your femur. It's the one next to your femur.
Where is? Oh.
Because the femur is the strongest bone in your body.
Huge.
Yeah, the femur is the strongest bone in your body, and the femur is connected to your tibia, which means he stress fractured his shin. He stress fractured this bone. This bone stress fractured. Yeah, that's like so. Jose Alvarado suffered a stress fractured like in his shin, like calf shin, like lower leg,
and he's just running it.
Yeah, it's just yeah, probably had really bad shin splits, and he just played through shin splits. That's usually what happens. You're not supposed to play through shin splits because it'll lead to stress fractures.
Perfect. This team is banged up, and there's so much potential. Perfect.
It's okay. I don't want to play this, but devil advocacy. How many more seasons do you go through Zion?
We just did this 2 days ago. I give them until he damn well pleases. You know, 27 7-4s don't grow on trees.
No, I know. But he's 22 years old. He's 22 years old.
We're older than him.
Zion,
old man.
Take one guess how many games he's played this season.
21.
29.
It's fine.
I know. I love Zion.
Give him however long he wants.
You know what's really cool before we move on to this? Kevin Durant, when someone asked him if he had to say if there was any player to compare him to, and he says, like, there isn't really anyone to compare me to, but he's like, if there was one guy, but he's not young anymore, Brandon Ingram. KD literally said the only player in the NBA that reminds him of himself, but he's not a young guy anymore, Brandon Ingram. And
B.I. is sick.
B.I. is fucking sick.
He's so sick.
So sick.
It gets downplayed because of the New Orleans market, but he's so sick.
Yeah, and he's like this low-key guy. Like, he's got that KD low-key like vibe. Like, he's not a talker. He does his own thing, and like he just lets his game speak for himself, you know?
Yeah, he's perfect.
I never was a huge BI guy on Los Angeles, but since he went to New Orleans, he's became one of my favorite players because you never hear him chirp. I also love the scraggly, like, not give a fuck about like his appearance, where he just has this grown out beard, overgrown hair, you know? Like, I love it. Like, most NBA players are like getting their hair cut once a week, getting lined up and shit. Brandon Ingram just wakes up and goes to the game.
How many games has Brandon Ingram played this season?
50.
28. So when should the Pelicans give up on BI?
Dude,
I'm playing devil's advocate. No, I'm just kidding.
Did BI only actually play 28 games? I knew he missed a good chunk. I thought it was closer to like 50 or 40. Holy crap. Because he missed basically the first half of the season, right?
Dude, I feel like he missed it's felt and
it didn't feel that long.
Yeah, it didn't feel that long.
Okay, so he missed all of December. And basically all of January.